Hi Mum, you do everything for everyone else. Let me help you make your life easier. Quick, short information to make you empowered so that you can be the matriarch of your little tribe. So you always feel informed and you know your options. Because if you don't know what's on the menu, how can you choose what's right for you? Hi, I'm Alina, Director of my private practice supportive therapy. And everyday Aussie mum trying not to lose my biscuits at my kids. You can tell by my cringeworthy accent. So I am the expert, here to share my secrets so no other mother feels alone or powerless. Knowledge is power, and I want you to be powerful. This is how you will live your best life, if you are mentally strong. So thank you for taking the time to come and listen to me. I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, my name's Alina and thank you so much for joining me today. This will be a topic today on people pleasing. So understanding what it is to be people pleasing, why it's here, also understanding that women do it more than men. And that's in terms of our biology. So also having a fine balance with standing up for yourself in a healthy way if you don't want to have these impulses anymore, and how to still align with your authentic self. So understanding what people pleasing is. So when you mention people pleasing, sometimes people may not understand why this actually can be problematic, but they're supporting their mates, they're keeping the peace and helping everyone out. So yes, you are right. It's not just about saying yes or helping people out. It's really about when you have the fear of saying no. So if you are a people pleaser and you like to say yes and you're happy with it, that's completely fine. But if something's within you and you actually have a fear of saying no, or you feel terribly guilty when you don't volunteer to help, or you're even ignoring your own emotions and needs, this includes anger and resentment, being so worried about what others want or how others think of you, and then how to make everyone else happy. So essentially, it's putting other people's needs above your own. For women, it can typically look like that mother who does everything for everyone else, all the time. And for males, it can actually look like that constant Mr. Fix-It, even when the person says, no thanks. The man helps out and does it anyways. No, but I just know, and you're just like, stop, right? So, translation, you're always looking for approval and validation from others. What their opinion of you means more than what you think of yourself. So this is this internal battle, because if you want to do things for people, that's completely fine. But if I said earlier, you don't want to do them, or you don't feel comfortable, or you feel guilt, you can't say anything, which means then it will turn into a bit of resentment, and then it's this uncomfortable anger that kind of lives within me now. And that's the thing that actually causes damage. So that's what we need to resolve. To get down to the nitty-gritty, people pleasing can begin as a child with pleasing parents. This is going to be a tongue twister the whole way through. So they want to make their parents happy to avoid conflict and punishment while suppressing their own needs. I'm going to read that again, okay? People pleasing can begin as a child with parent pleasing. We essentially want to make our parents happy and to avoid conflict and punishment while suppressing our own needs. So this learned behavior of people pleasing can actually be an adaptive coping mechanism or even an automatic compulsion. They will only love me when I'm good. So that's that conditional love. They will only love me when I'm good. Teachers are only proud of me when I get good grades. I always get yelled at if I do the wrong thing and they don't love me. So I always have to make them happy. I always have to get good grades. I always have to be the good girl. So as an adult, you get your worth from good deeds, trying to make everyone happy. So it's almost like this perpetual cycle that even technically you're an adult walking around in an adult body, still this childlike behavior or the inner child wanting and seeking this approval because of fear of disappointing others. This is all motivated by wanting to be liked and accepted because you may have a fear of abandonment or rejection. To be honest, honey, who doesn't, okay? to be fair, no one likes rejection. You know what this ultimately means though? That you have learned that certain aspect of your personality or certain aspects of your behavior are more important than others. That people will only love me when I do good and it makes others happy. It can lead to lower self-esteem and staying in staying in relationships, whether they're romantic or platonic. So your partner or even your friends who you've been friends with since high school, because it's better to be with someone than to be alone. So being in this constant state of putting others above yourself and constantly anticipating what others want can then be really quite anxiety provoking. Trying to guess if you've done the right thing according to their mood, and then tendencies of perfectionism to control and help ease the anxiety. So trauma may be a factor. So as we explored last episode about emotional abuse and what that looks like, doing everything at all costs to avoid that kind of treatment towards you can also factor into people pleasing. So yes, you may experience trauma when you're going to war, but you can also get a trauma response from emotional abuse or neglect from childhood. Trauma can happen when we realize we are alone in the world, so we make ourselves needed. All too familiar, right? Now let's help resolve this learnt people-pleasing behavior. So firstly, we have to understand why you have developed this people-pleasing as a coping style to psychologically keep yourself emotionally safe. So it's also really good to understand that sometimes this isn't a conscious chosen decision. This is you, people-pleasing can be your brain psychologically trying to keep you emotionally safe. So it will fawn, F-A-W-N. And fawning is that people-pleasing, that agreeing, that surrendering, that giving in. And that's because that your brain decides that's the best way for you to survive and keep safe, especially emotionally safe, okay? For me to help you, understanding the whole array of emotions and what's actually out there. So, especially as a kid, if you were raised believing that love towards you is conditional. So if you do anything other than what's expected of you, you're a disappointment in some way, or you're not loved in some way, or you're not good enough in some way. So this then leads to you turning off some emotions, or sometimes not even allowing you to explore emotions, okay? So this will be interesting, right? Anger is healthy. Anger is good. Anger is normal, okay? Aggression, too far. But especially for little girls in society, sometimes when we do get angry, it's really quite negatively or harshly seen, and so it's kind of needed to be reined in as soon as possible. So we need to, especially if we were never allowed to get angry or feel angry, learning how to get angry in a really productive and healthy way so that we don't suppress it. If you keep on suppressing it, it can either do really bad things for your body. Otherwise, there's this thing called a rage haze. I don't know if you've heard it before. H-A-Z-E, rage haze. So it's like all of this stuff slowly builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up, right? And then you explode. Sometimes then when you explode, it's just this rage haze, so intense. And the thing is though, because you're so heightened and so dysregulated, sometimes even after your rage haze, you don't remember what happened or what you said because everything's a bit of a blur. That's why it's called a haze, okay? Otherwise, you can also ruminate. If you don't know what ruminating is the same negative thoughts over and over and over and over and over again, right? Into a depression spiral. So, to help allow you to realize that anger is healthy, anger is good, and anger is normal, aggression too far. But I'm allowed anger. So how can I start expressing myself or standing up for myself in a healthy way so it doesn't lead to a rage haze? okay? Firstly, we can also practice saying our thoughts out loud. So people aren't mind readers. If they don't know what you're thinking, they won't understand why you're hurt. So this can be we're not communicating our own expectations onto other people, and we just expect people to treat us the way that we're treating them. So if we're people pleasers and we will do this, sometimes we expect people to do that for us, but they won't, because we're all different, okay? So also think logically. Time versus capacity. If you literally do not have the spare time, then technically you're not lying, which then can reduce the guilt. So remember the saying, if you are saying yes for approval, you are saying no to your well-being. So understanding that if you actually don't want to say yes and you're desperately clutching at excuses, time versus capacity. I literally don't have the time to do it. If you're saying yes for approval, you are saying no to your well-being. And mum, your well-being is the most at the moment because you're spread so thin as it is, okay? As always, self-love is to understand what we want and how to make ourselves happy without craving others' acceptance. So really, you need to start understanding your own emotions and needs. Start being emotionally mature with yourself and trying to be brave and speaking up about what's actually going on inside for you. So it can be very, very hard if you've never done it before. So those people, especially mums, when we say, what do you want? What are you feeling? If no one's ever done that and you don't know what you're feeling and you can't put a name or a label onto that sensation, it's literally impossible. You can't do it. When you master self-compassion, you can meet your own needs so that you don't rely on others to make you happy. Self-compassion is actually the first step to self-love and to self-care and self-acceptance. You need to start having compassion and forgiveness for yourself. Believe that you are good enough. No matter how hard you try or whatever happens, you always have really good intentions, or it's unresolved trauma that we haven't addressed yet. Mum, you're so overwhelmed with everything a lot of the time as well. Start having some compassion for you and what you're experiencing day to day. Constantly pumping yourself up like you would do to others. So imagine how you speak to your best friend and when she's going through a hard time, pumping herself up. That's how you have to then speak to yourself, being kind and compassionate. It's all right. Everything will be okay. Do you want to talk about it? What's happening? Understanding your attachment and how it's contributed to your unconscious people-pleasing behaviors. So if you can understand attachment theory, we will explore this later on as well and how important it is. I've even got a little, if you go on my YouTube channel on supportive therapy, I've got a free attachment theory YouTube that will help you understand what attachment is, what category you fall in, and what you actually need to achieve. So recognizing when and where you may be in denial or feeling numb. So understanding about trauma mindfulness, and then understanding introspection, actually having a look inside about what's going on within you. The problem is sometimes that if we felt like our body has betrayed us in some way, or we don't like ourselves, or if we've obviously had all that unresolved trauma, introspection, looking inside, is actually crazy scary, and I don't want to do it, and you can't make me, okay? Which then makes all of this completely impossible for you to actually then have self-compassion, because you're always accidentally punishing yourself and you don't know why. Okay, ladies, boundaries. Explore what they are and how to use them without fear or rejection. The thing about boundaries is easier said than done. If we don't have self-worth or self-esteem, you don't have boundaries. If you were never allowed to stand up for yourself because you would get punished for it, you are not allowed to have boundaries. You can't use them. Also, if you're with someone that has a bit of a personality disorder or narcissistic kind of traits, if you put up a boundary, it can actually be quite dangerous, and they will do everything they can to break that. Understanding that it is nice to be loved. Everyone wants love and acceptance. Everyone wants to be involved in a community. But not if it comes at the expense of your own wellness and your own mental well-being. It is not authentic love. So surrounding yourself with those who love you authentically, whether it be romantically or friends or family, because if someone loves you authentically, when you do practice your boundaries, they will respect you and your boundaries and your voice, because you do that to others as well. So start practicing saying no or putting up boundaries under your own terms, firstly with people that you feel safe with. So perhaps a little compliment sandwich could be a good way to deliver that awkward, anxiety-provoking conversation, right? So do you know what a compliment sandwich is? For those that don't, imagine your favorite sandwich, even if it's gluten-free bread, okay? Sandwich at the top, filling in the middle, and then sandwich bread at the bottom. So at the top of the sandwich, you can say something positive. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invitation. The feeling is the truth that you want to say. Unfortunately, at this stage, I'm not able to make it. Full stop. It doesn't have to be a whole... Women generally have a tendency to kind of feel like an inconvenience or a burden, so we need to constantly talk on and on and on and on and on and on so that we can justify ourselves so that people won't accidentally punish us in the future. So, I'm sorry I'm not able to come. Full stop. That's all you need to say. Try and be concise and shorten your sentences down to about 5 to 10 words. So, thank you so much for the invitation. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it. And then the bottom of the sandwich will be, hopefully next time, I would love to attend. I hope you have so much fun. Full stop. That's a compliment sandwich, and that can be a boundary. So thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it. Hopefully I can make the next one though. A boundary when someone's talking to you that's not very nice, compliment sandwich, could be, I know that you love me and I can see what you're trying to say. It's actually coming across quite hurtful. The bottom one could be, would you be able to rephrase it or come back to me when you're cooled off? Something basic and easy. Shorten everything that you're saying. Get quite concise, okay? Another boundary could be, let me check my schedule and I'll come back to you. So it actually reduces the pressure to say yes immediately. So if you are too scared to say no to someone's face because you're not down the boundary road yet, so putting in a time schedule that you will get back to them, so at least then you can send a text or an email or a phone call, and you can practice saying no the way that you want to. Obviously, all of these strategies take time. If you are a genuine people pleaser, this article might actually be anxiety provoking. So thank you so much for sticking around until the end for me. Please take your time. Make achievable goals so that you are proud of yourself when you achieve them, and not self-sabotaging goals that you know that you will fail. Your ultimate purpose, Mum, is your well-being. It can take time and it will be hard, but your happiness and not others is worth it. So if you are that people pleaser, it's okay to be a people pleaser if you want to, but if you have anxiety when you say no, or if you're guilty when you don't do something or offer, that's when we have to do the work on ourselves and understand why. Please go back and have a listen to emotional abuse. I might even put it in the notes below. But I hope you have a wonderful day and that this has been quite helpful and understanding for you. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your time. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you for your support. So you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at supportivetherapy_MSM podcast. So MSM, Mentally Strong Mums. And you can find heaps of resources online at www.supportivetherapy.com.au. Supportive Therapy is my little private practice in Brisbane. So if you have found my information useful, can you please leave a review and subscribe? So if you're able to leave a review, it's a value exchange. It's good karma. So I value your support just as much as you value my information. So also, please let me know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. So get in touch in the comments or on Supportive Therapy social media networks. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day, you beautiful mum.